Hello, everyone. Welcome back to All for United. I mean, hearts in mouths. That was a mental game of football, really. First half, obviously, pretty poor again. Took us a little bit of time. But that second half, we really came out and looked very good. Fred improved, Pogba improved, and then we came away with a 3-0 win. Absolutely buzzing. I'm going to bring on my first guest, Bobby. Good man. How you doing, mate? I think you're on.
Come on!
Oh man, absolutely buzzing.
Yes.
How are you? First of all, you good?
Listen, mate. I'm good. It's been a good week. Great weekend. Good bit of football all over. I love football, not just Man United. So, good few games. The West Ham game was a great warm up for that one. So yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How about you?
I'm well, mate. Yeah. Busy weekend this weekend. Trying to organise and everything else. But yeah, great. I mean, what a wonderful end to a Sunday. I mean, it was a great. It's just one of those games that you really sort of come out feeling proud. You know what I mean?
It was a great sermon.
Brilliant.
A great sermon was played today. Definitely. Oh
yeah,
man,
definitely.
beautiful.
So who do you give me your thoughts on the game then? Players, man of the match, that sort of thing.
To be honest, you know what?
There you go.
Hello, yeah, no. To be honest, you know what? We've got to give credit where credit's due. At halftime, Ollie changed it. He moved Pogba into the middle. Can we see why Pogba has to play through the middle? He's influential when he's on the ball. He dictates the game of play. I have to say, Fred had a good game, had a very good game. It topped off with a goal. And you know what? I think his belief shone through everyone. And yeah, I think you've got to just Cavani with his runs. Listen, the first half we were done, VAR again. But listen, water is wet. Do you know what I mean? So what? We just changed it around. Ollie, big up to him for making the individual changes, slight tweaks. And we saw what happened. Through the middle, they couldn't handle us. I dare say it again. Through the middle, they couldn't handle us. Pogba's not a winger. We know that. Rashford was lucky to play as long as he played. This is the part about substitutions, making the substitutions when they count. He came on, Greenwood, he made a chance, he set up a goal, and he scored the goal, he wrapped it up. Was that entertaining, Mark? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Do you know what? I'm so pleased you spoke about that. So many times we see people going into Ollie for lack of ambition, lack of tactics, and you're absolutely right. The first half, it just wasn't working. They must have come in at half time and he's like, look, guys, you need to step up. Aaron Wan-Bissaka move forward. You're absolutely right. I actually quite like Pogba on the front left. I think he becomes this flair player. But he was right to put him back in the middle. It gave us a little bit more creativity, a little bit more, incision, and a lot more progressive passing quicker, and absolutely spot on. Someone else I want to talk about, Cavani. Been a lot of chat about him the last few days, in particular, about whether he's going to sort of stay for another year. Will he sign a contract perhaps with Boca Juniors? What were your thoughts on him today? I thought personally he was sensational. Got a goal, saved our asses at the other end, and brilliant all round.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what, with Cavani, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, it's like there's a curse with South American players at our club, isn't there? They struggle, they don't enjoy it, they play well. Maybe sometimes not all in that order. With Cavani today, he looked like a man possessed. His runs were brilliant. The difference when Cavani makes the runs, when we give him the ball when he makes these runs. He looked interested today. I don't want to be negative, but I need to remind ourselves he was playing against Dyer and Rodon. However, that being said, you have to play and beat what's in front of you. And the header was just Cavani-esque. Even when for Fred's equaliser, the run to go across, the fact that he was able to get a shot on. The guy was just instrumental, and it's just a shame. It's a real shame we did not get this guy when he was at his peak. It's a shame that we're getting him right now at this stage of his career. It's a shame. But listen, he was brilliant today. Credit where credit's due. And I love when he scores because he celebrates with so much passion. Young footballers, if you're watching this, one of the hardest things to do is to score a goal. So when you do it, man, celebrate like crazy, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he was great today, and I think if there were any doubts about him, I appreciate he hasn't always turned up. He has looked disinterested. But, you know, if there were any doubts about his movement, about his precision, I mean, he was unfortunate not to have two. That first goal, which in my eyes should have stood, was great. Pogba, brilliant. His finish was excellent. And to be honest with you, I mean, you tell me, what were your thoughts on that? Do you think that was the correct decision? And tell me
it's a ridiculous decision. It's a ridiculous decision. Listen, you know, if that's the case, yeah, literally, if that is the case, that we're going to give every shoulder barge, every tackle there's connection, you will start being every referee's got to blow for everything. It is a contact sport. McTominay's looking forward. He's clearly clear away from him. He's put his hand up just to. I don't even know why he's put his hand up, but it's all accidental. He's not like he's went to elbow him. And the fact that annoyed me is that Son stayed down for a length of time. Then we saw him spring back up like a chicken and start running again. It's the dark arts of football. Sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it goes against you. Today, we were fortunate to regroup and win. You know, on other days, you know, it doesn't happen. But let me not lie to you. If this is in the Europa League Cup final, I don't care. If my player does what Son does, and, you know, it prevents them getting a goal, hey, I'm all for it. It swings and roundabouts. You know, it swings and roundabouts, guys. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And Fred, just quickly, obviously, you know, he's had a lot of criticism. I think it's fair that he's had criticism. Yes. I'm not expecting anybody just because of this goal to now go, oh, what a wonderful player. I mean, there were a few wayward passes in the first half. I don't know what was said to him at halftime, but he got his goal. I think Karthik would be a bit frustrated today because he's been waiting for so long to tweet about Fred scoring. But yeah, he got a goal and he was right place, right time. I mean, it's great for him. I mean, that will give him a huge amount of confidence, don't you think?
Yeah, listen, I think with Fred, I think the fan base is split 3, 4 ways, 5 ways, whatever. You know, everyone's got an opinion on Fred. For me personally, I don't think he's world class. He is good when he's tenacious, he's pressing the ball. In possession, he's not that good. We've seen what he can do. It's just not consistent enough. And for me, you know, he's not a DM. That's the only poisonous thing about this right now, the situation.
Totally
it's not DM. It's not his position. So we have to be honest and open. We're asking him to do a job that he doesn't do. It's not his position. Today he was brilliant. He got the goal. Literally screamed for him because I was so happy, like, for him on a personal level as well. Because look, he gets criticized all the time. Literally, you know, I'm sure he probably gets criticized when he's not even playing. You know, so for me, I'm happy for him. Let that breed some confidence into him, and also maybe shut people up a little bit as well, especially me, because I'm always on to him as well.
Yeah, I've been in the same boat. I think everybody has. You know, I think everybody is in the limelight to sometimes receive a bit of criticism. But, you know, as you say, he stepped up. And I really hope that you're absolutely right that he's not a defensive midfielder. You know, I've said this for a long, long time now. And I really feel this is why our defensive midfielder spot that we need to recruit for is absolutely vital, because it would. I feel that he's quite similar to McTominay in many ways, where he will be better further forward, and he's not a defensive midfielder. The only one we've got is Matic, and unfortunately Matic's legs are gone. So yeah, I mean, I'm just pleased for him. Really, really happy for him. So it's really good to see. So Mason Greenwood, obviously Rashford came off today. Probably a good thing. I don't think he had too much of an impact on the game. Obviously Greenwood came on for him. Looked very lively, and obviously got his goal at the end. Absolutely brilliant. What do you think?
Do you know the funny thing about Greenwood? This is how we should be using Greenwood. You know, he's not good enough at the moment to start games centre forward. We know that. Okay. Yep. He's good enough. He's good enough to affect games. Yes, we saw last season he had a brilliant season. However, he's still learning, and the fact that he was able to come on and be able to, in a situation where we had to go for the goal, we had to win. We knew he was going to be confident anyway. He was going to be brave. He was going to try stuff. He even gave Reguilon the shake and bake. You know, it looked like Reguilon had cement boots on. Do you know what I mean? And then we got the goal. We know he can do that. Okay. It's being able to give him the platform to do that week in, week out, you know. So for me, he's done brilliant. He's done his job today, you know. Hashtag are you entertained? Listen, he's done his jobs, came on, assist and a goal. Come on, mate. You know what I mean? He can enjoy his Chinese tonight. Do you know what I'm saying? Enjoy your takeaway tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we've had a few discussions about that today. You know, Greenwood, I think everyone expects him to be able to fill that number 9 position straight away. You know, we got to remember he's a lot younger. He still needs that experience. But you've seen in the last few weeks that there's a lot more to his game now. And I think that obviously getting a goal today will really help his confidence. That's something obviously he's been lacking, but most of his play has been very good. So I'm absolutely chuffed to bits for him. Listen, Bobby, thanks for coming on, bro. I'm going to let you go.
Guys, really... make sure you like and subscribe to the show. Thanks for having me on. Please, can we do this again? I love when we work together. We have great chats. But listen, yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
You're more than welcome, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. I'll see you soon.
Take care, bro.
Cheers, bro. Right, so I'm just going to go through some of the comments. I mean, I literally, my heart is still going. I don't know about everybody else, but that was absolutely wonderful, and I'm just really chuffed. So I'm assuming, Hammer, I kept your comment up for a little while. I think I'm assuming this was about Fred. Obviously, as we said, in the first half, very poor. Second half, brilliant. So that was really good to see. What else have we got? Lindelof and Maguire. This is quite a good comment, actually. They've been very, very good recently. Unfortunately for the goal today, Lindelof probably should. I mean, he had his footing wrong, didn't he? And I think that was just, you know, a bit unfortunate. But you know, we came out 3-1. So 1 goal in a little while is good in my eyes. Looking a lot smarter, a lot better. I think Henderson, as I've said on many shows before, is testament to that, and really good to see. Right, I'm going to bring on my next guest. Here he is. Ben, how you doing, buddy?
Mate, I don't know about you, mate. I'm buzzing. I've still got sweaty palms and everything, mate. My heart's still absolutely beating in my chest. My God, mate. You know, right at half-time, I was fuming, mate. I was fuming. I was paced up and down the house like a raging bull. I tell you, I was not happy at half-time with that referee. I tell you, we got robbed. We got robbed for that goal. But I don't want to concentrate on VAR. I don't want to concentrate on the piss-poor refereeing. I just want to concentrate on what a great show of character it was from the boys today, and what a great job that Ollie's doing it as a whole. You know, we could have got in there heads down at half-time, looking at the world's up against us. But you've seen people slag Ollie off for always smiling and all that. You've seen him on the sideline before half-time. You know, he was fuming. I've not seen Ollie like that before, ever, really, on the sideline. He was proper fuming. And I don't think he would have said anything to him at half-time. I think he'd just sat there and gone, boys, this is Tottenham. We can do this. You know, we didn't deserve that goal chalked off. And really, Son is a great player. I'd love him at United, but that was just fucking disgraceful bit of play acting, really, in a way. But as the previous guest said, if it was one of our players and it went in our favour, we'd be probably applauding it, let's be fair, you know. But listen, mate, I want to shout out someone that probably won't get shouted out. I think you gave him a brief shout with Dean Henderson. Mate, couple of great saves there with his feet, David De Gea-esque, you know, to keep us in the game. That second one from Harry Kane, his positioning was absolutely spot on. Maybe that it sort of helped that they've been on international duty for England, and Dean's still got it fresh in his mind where Harry Kane likes to go from that sort of position. But you have to give shout outs to Dean Henderson. You very rarely seen David De Gea ever out the penalty box. But Dean's chasing balls down, he's coming out, he's clearing the lines very well. His distribution's usually spot on as well. His handling today was spot on, you know, where it looked a bit nervy a couple of games ago. He looked spot on today. He looked up for it. And I think now we are seeing the change of the guard. Where I know Ollie won't publicly say it, but I think we're now seeing our new number 1 there. I thought he was terrific. I thought Paul Pogba was fucking immense, mate. I know I think Gary Neville gave them a match to Cavani, mate, but Pogba was on a different level today for me. Shaw, Pogba, Cavani, were terrific for me. I've run out of superlatives just to describe their 3 performances alone.
No, that's good. It's good to see some positivity. Obviously, on a win, you expect that. But I'm so pleased you brought up the Henderson. I mean, I briefly said about it earlier. I've said this for many weeks, that he seems to instill a lot more reassurance to the defenders. And I think he showed that today. You know, he was called upon on numerous occasions today, and he did such a phenomenal job. And yeah, really pleased for him. I thought he was brilliant. I think Luke Shaw was great, as you said, Pogba. So what do you think this means going, you know, you brought up the Henderson subject. What do you think this means going forward for David De Gea and Henderson?
I don't know. I don't want to obviously throw myself into a pit of vipers and then people come up and say, Ben, you said this, Ben, you said that. But I do think there's something in this that I think he wants to go back to Spain. I think he's had a private conversation. Obviously, I don't know nothing. I'm like nobody. I know nothing. But in my heart of hearts, I think he's gone to Ollie, had a conversation, because I know that his missus lives over in Spain. I think they spend the majority of time in Spain. I think since becoming a father, he's had a bit of a heart-to-heart with Ollie and saying, look, Ollie, you know, when you become a father, it changes you. And I know that, you know, having a son myself. So, you know, I think he's gone to Ollie. He's had a heart-to-heart. And I think Ollie's probably then gone and said, well, okay, then, if you could, I know you're going to give it your all for us when you call upon throughout the season, but I might have to now rely on and test Dean out, because this is now going forward. If he does want to go back to Spain and there's any truth in what I'm trying to say, which is probably a load of bollocks, but you know, if there's any truth in what I'm trying to say,
don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah, so any truth I want to say, I think Ollie's probably gone, look, I'm going to have to now put in my trust, in my faith in Dean to be the first choice goalkeeper, and then you will now have to do what Dean's been doing, maybe doing the cup role, if you will, and then coming in if Dean does drop a clanger or if Dean gets injured or whatever. But I don't know, mate. It's difficult. I mean, who's going to afford him? There's been arguments all over Twitter from my friends and from a lot of people like to engage. Who's going to afford him? Who's going to afford his wages? Where's he going to go? So, Madrid, possibly. I don't think Real Madrid are sold on Courtami, really, to be fair. I think he's a good keeper, but I think they're probably looking at someone like De Gea to maybe come in and challenge him. So I don't know. I'm not a Spanish football expert. PSG, I mean, he's in mainland Europe then, so he's a bit closer. I don't know, mate, but I don't think he's going to be here next season, and that's not because he doesn't want to be here. I just think that it's due to family reasons, and he's probably said, "Listen, Ollie, I've spent a decade here. It's now my time to move on." But that's my opinion on it. I don't know what everybody else feels on that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think there'll be. Well, you know, as you say, if he wants to go back to Spain, you know, he's just had a baby. He wants to be with his family in his home country. And ultimately he'd have to go to a Spanish club. And I think you're right. I think Real Madrid aren't. I mean, he had a really tough start, Courtois, didn't he? And I think he's obviously come good, or certainly far better now. But I don't think they're overly sold on him, and I can understand that. So perhaps they could be in for him. We obviously wouldn't get as much as what was put in for him before with the famous fax machine. But you know, ultimately we get a huge wage off the bill if that's what, you know, with that as well. And we just have to wait and see. I mean, would he go to France? Probably not. Could go back to Atletico, but you know, we just have to wait and see. Listen,
it all depends as well. I mean, I think there was rumours today about Sam Johnson, United looking at him coming back as a possible number 2 to Dean Henderson. So I've seen rumours like that. If either Dean or David move on, but he would be that United looking at Sam Johnson now. He's a good goalkeeper as well. Let's be fair. You don't get into the England squad for nothing. You know, he's a decent, obviously United Academy product as well. You know, he knows what it is to be part of United, and you know what it takes. Probably, you know, knock on the door. But it'll be an interesting summer for the goalkeeper situation, you know. But I think that it's another conversation for another time, really, all this transfer talk. I'm not really a big one on transfer talk myself, to be fair.
That's good. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Who was your man of the match today? I mean, there could have been, for me, several, to be honest. It's just a shame that we couldn't play, as we say every week, for the full 90 minutes. But who was your man of the match?
Well, I said Paul Pogba on Twitter, so I'm going to stick with Paul Pogba. I thought it was, as I said before, I thought it was immense. But you could have given it to either Luke Shaw, Paul Pogba, Cavani. I thought Cavani was good. I think Scott McTominay was a solid game. You know, someone doesn't always get all the plaudits, but I thought Scott McTominay kept his head very well, especially when he picked up that yellow card early doors. You know, he was walking a tightrope a little bit, but you know, he kept his head very well. I think, you know, it was a pretty decent performance for him. And you know, I think Harry Maguire also had a decent performance as well. Kept Harry Kane very quiet, you know, for large periods of the game. So Dean Henderson was immense, but Paul Pogba for me all day long.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a huge shout, and I don't disagree with any of those that you've mentioned. I think personally for me, I think I said this earlier, Cavani, I just think that it was nice for him to sort of shut up shop and shut up the doubters, really. And I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Listen, Ben, wonderful to have you on, mate. Thank you very much for having me, pal. Are you on Wall of Reds later?
I am, pal, yeah, at 9 o'clock.
Excellent. Well, everyone, he's on Wall of Reds later, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, pal.
9 o'clock, yes, sound. Right. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, pal.
Cheers, buddy. Right, I'm just going to go through some more comments. So, Brown Knight, I'd rather we take David Raya or that Belgian keeper's Villar. Eddie Cavani, man of the match. Lots of people saying that. Paul, man of the match. Thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate it, mate. Who else? What other comments we got here? Just a lot of people that are buzzing, which is really good to see. So we've got 24 viewers at the moment. And we have 3 on Twitter and 7 on Facebook. So come over to YouTube, like and subscribe. YouTube.com/AllForUnited. It'd be good to see you over here. Get some comments in. I'll be able to answer a few of those. Right. My next guest is Neil. I haven't seen Neil for a little while. I think he's been on holiday for a couple of weeks. How you doing, mate?
I'm getting better.
Good.
But I'm all right. More performances like today. I'm a happy boy.
Good.
Especially as Mourinho's trying to throw Pogba under the bus at the moment on Sky Sports.
Oh, what did he say?
He doesn't want to talk about his elbow and Aurier in the first half because he's worried about getting into trouble, etc., etc. So he's but Pogba was immense today, wasn't he? Absolutely immense.
Yeah, he was brilliant. There was no doubt about that. I mean,
I just love to be involved in the conversation off camera between Roy Keane and Jamie Redknapp. After Redknapp said that Spurs were a good side and Keane tore Spurs to shreds. What was it, 2 or 3 months ago or something? Now I can't remember. Yeah. But I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that studio.
Wasn't it?
Anyway, Mark, I must say you're looking good, kid. You've
really?
You've trimmed the hair, sorted the beard out.
Well, the beard's going back. I'm getting my haircut tomorrow. My beard.
You know, I'm a big fan of you. I've got, it's a bit of a bromance going on here. But you're looking good, kid. I've not seen you for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I haven't, mate. And you're an absolute sweetheart. Thanks, mate.
Can I ask this question? Can I answer this?
Oh, it depends, but go on.
I'm not allowed to swear before 9 o'clock, Joe. My girlfriend's listening, and I've got to be honest. That's like it's like picking one of your children. That is
double-edged sword.
I can't stand either team, but I've got to be honest. City are going to win the league. I'd rather that they'd beaten Leeds, to be honest, because we're not going to catch them now, are we? I mean, let's be honest. So I want Leeds.
No, I mean,
we play Leeds next week.
I'm not sure what our fixtures are, Spencer. I didn't even look. But
can someone out there tell us if we play Leeds next week? Because that's a show I want to be on, by the way. But yeah, I thought we were great today. I thought it was a great team performance. We weren't reliant on Bruno for a change. Pogba played really, really well. Sure, arguably, I know Bruno will get player of the season, but Shaw's been immense, and I knew he'd play well in front of Mourinho after the stick Mourinho gave him all these years. Ben, the previous guy on, what a fantastic beard, by the way, that is. Deary me. Give me all your loving, Ben, by the way. That's one for the kids. I thought the whole team performance was absolutely perfect today, because what I liked about Ollie, he made some substitutions instead of making him, late in the game. We went and won the game as a team and a squad, and I was very impressed today. And I had a feeling we might be limping over the line to get in the top 4, but I'm getting more and more confident. Thanks, Joe. That's going to be a long 2 weeks. I think I'm confident now that we should get second, and that's secure. That'd be a decent season. I'd love us to win the Europa League, but getting into the Champions League without going through the pre-qualifying would be good. Yeah,
which would look like Liverpool might have to do. I mean, if they can even secure that top 4 spot.
I don't care about. Don't swear at me when I've been away for a few.
Mate, that's just
do not swear at me. You should go and wash your mouth out.
Yeah, I will do after this. Sorry, buddy. Just talk to me quickly about that incident. Obviously, the Cavani goal that was disallowed. Because I know that you're a man of many words, and you'll have an opinion on this. Do you think? I obviously feel it was unfortunate. I mean, if you look at it again, I feel like his arm he had some friction from Son's arm, and as soon as Son's arm had moved out of the way, it sort of flicked back. Now, to me, that is so unjustified and shouldn't be an issue. And I feel that it was very hard done by, to be honest. What are your thoughts on that?
The problem is, you're right, Mark. It shouldn't be an issue, and it's completely unjustified. But the fact is now, it is justified, and it has become an issue. I actually had the radio on and Sky Sports on at the same time, and Clinton Morrison was talking about it. Now, I used to think Clinton hadn't got a clue about football. Might as well be talking to a cream egg. But I think he's quite a good judge. And his opinion was McTominay was lucky to stay on the pitch based on the rules that they are today. So, and I sort of agree. I agreed with the way they looked at it, because I tried to look at it from the other way round. That if that had happened against us, if it had been the other way round, we'd have, it was one of those, and VAR was a joke. So if we'd have been awarded the goal, McTominay could have been sent off. That's what Clinton Morrison was saying. We weren't awarded the goal, and then he couldn't go back and then give McTominay the second yellow, because he'd already made the one decision. So it was a bit confusing the way it all played out. But
I totally agree.
Luckily we got the right decision. And I think your first point, I might know a lot of words. Some of them I understand, but your first point was exactly it. That's just the way the game's gone. And until they sort VAR out, then we're going to have months of this.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen. I mean, if they did disallow the goal, and McTominay obviously already on the yellow, should that have meant that he? I mean, there isn't any consistency there, is there?
Oh,
I mean,
no, none at all. But would you have rather had the goal and McTominay sent off, or the goal disallowed and McTominay stays on? I've got to be honest. I'd have the 11 against 11.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But what I mean is, from a refereeing standpoint, if it was a foul and he was on a yellow, and it was also to his head, surely that would warrant a red card. And
exactly.
And I think that this is where we have to look at it, and there isn't any consistency there. And that, for me, they need to iron it out. I mean, we've seen 2 occasions this weekend, 2 offsides, which, Christ, if the wind blew in a different way, his arm would have been onside. You know what I mean? And then obviously today you've discounted a perfectly good goal, and I just feel that Son made the most of it. It was even talked about the fact that had he not gone down, then it would have stood. And I think too many players these days will make the most of it.
I mean, Clinton Morrison said, if someone walked past you in a nightclub and did that sort of thing to you, you're not rolling on the floor in a bloody nightclub. Not that I've been to a nightclub for about 30 years, by the way, but you know what I mean. But, you know, someone bumps past you in a bar and you're not suddenly rolling on the floor holding your knee.
I don't know what that's like, actually. It's been over a year, but...
Well, you're looking suave, and you should be ready to rock in Solihull, mate, or Sutton Coldfield, where you live. You should be ready to rock. That's another... I'd like to be your wingman. I'm telling you now, I'd be happy to be your wingman.
Christ almighty. I need to get you on more and more, mate. Thank you, mate. You're blowing my ego massively.
Well, that's all I'll do.
So, you know, I'm going to have to bring on the next guest in a moment, mate.
No, that's fine.
Coming on. Who was your, I mean, as I said previously, who was your man of the match?
I'd say the team. I genuinely say the team. I thought it was a great team performance, and you couldn't give it to, I thought Henderson was outstanding. I mean, Ben completely stole my lead. I thought I was going to lead with Henderson. He was brilliant. He came for crosses. And I said at the start of the season, and Joe will back me up on this, that I thought Henderson should have been number one at the start of the season. I think they're going to have to pay De Gea off, and it's going to cost them probably 8 figures to get rid of him. But they need to get the wages off, and whether he goes back to, I can't see him going to Atletico, because they've got an amazing keeper. Is he Oblak or Olbak or something? His name. Oblak. So he's an amazing keeper. Whoever they bring in, they might bring someone up from the academy. I can't see it being someone like Johnston, by the way, because he's now in the England squad. He's not going to want to sit in the reserves anywhere. Oh, lost you. Mark, can you hear me? I've lost you.
You haven't lost me, mate. I think I've lost you. Right, I'm going to remove him for a second. Listen, if you see this, Neil, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and I'll see you again soon. So my next guest, he's been raring to get on. We had a few conversations earlier on today. Hopefully his internet is going to be all right today. But here he is. Stu, you're muted. Great start. Great start.
Yeah, it was my laptop, actually. I had to do a couple of things with it. But all right.
How you doing, my man? You all right?
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. I've been reading the comments, and it's great to see some positivity on the channel, really. Great game. I thought, today's game was everything I think as a football fan you love about the game. There was a lot of conjecture, a lot of issues, a lot of, refereeing decisions that we can debate until the cows come home. But what a second half performance. Spurs in the first 20, I thought were excellent. I thought they pressed us really high. I thought they pressed us really quick. And we really couldn't get to grips with them. And I was reading a lot of comments on Twitter about how awful we were playing. But there's times in games where the opposition actually dictate the flow of a football match. And I tell you something, that's what happened. They dictated the first 20 minutes. And after that, I do want to touch on the Son goal, because I've listened to what everybody said.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
Sorry, the Son, the issue with the goal. If you look at the pictures, you will see that Scotty, bless him, didn't even look at him once. What he did, he felt Son try and grab him. And all he did was just try and move his hands. And as you quite rightly pointed out, Mark, when he touched his hand, Son removed it immediately. And that left that space. That left that space where Son's arm was going to be to the actual face. And do you know something?
Yeah.
What really annoys me more than anything, and I did put this on Twitter, is back in my day, I'd have put one on him. I'd have absolutely put one on Son. Not to hurt, or may I point that out, or not to maim or anything like that, but I put one on him because, players today have got to understand what a proper challenge is and what a proper foul is. And so I was really disappointed from then. And we lost our rag. I think if you look at the last 5 minutes of the first half, we were all over the place, weren't we? Our psyche had gone. Bruno's psyche had gone, and we were giving away needless free kicks. Second half, brilliant. And you can't fault the second half at all. I thought we were absolutely brilliant to a man, if I'm being honest, to a man. And it's great to see the confidence that Fred had when he popped his goal in. Although, again, I did tweet on that. I think the bar was...
I'm just going to stop you there very quickly, Stu. You've got a lot of fans on here, mate. They're all talking about how wonderfully you speak. Listen to him all day long.
Oh, thanks.
Got some fanboys going. Anyway, sorry, go on. Go on.
I was going to say, I was joking apart about when Fred popped it in. I think the bar had a bit of a a bit of a glimpse because I think he was close to the bar, wasn't he? Although we had to lift it over Lloris. So I was delighted to see Fred. But did you notice his confidence all of a sudden grow? And he grew into the game, really grew into the game from that moment onwards. I've been sitting here thinking about who you're going to ask me for man of the match. And it's a real difficult one. So I'll wait for you to ask me that question. I think I've come down on somebody, but I don't know.
Luke Shaw was good again today. Obviously, he had a lot of criticism. I won't go into that. We've spoken about this so many times. But again, I think for me, I was really pleased today. And this isn't, I don't mean this vindictively or anything like that. I was really ready for today. We lost 6-1. It was a real turning point in our season. And I felt I've felt sorry for Pogba and Luke Shaw for a long time because of how they were treated. And I was desperate for them to have a fantastic game today. And they did, both of them. Pogba especially, I thought Luke was so comfortable. And I found in previous games months ago, whenever he had the ball, I would always be a sort of bit on edge and worried about him losing the ball and not making the right decision. And his crosses are brilliant. He takes players on. He comes inside at the right time, and he was so good. So what are your thoughts on him and Pogba, really?
Well, Luke Shaw, for me, if you for the first 10 minutes, he was pulled out of position quite a lot. And that's the worst first 10 minutes I've seen him play for all season, really. But once he got to grips with what Mourinho was doing, he was absolutely dynamite. And I think you've got to pay tribute to Wan-Bissaka also on the right back, because he's had a lot of stick about not being so good going forward, and he won't make the England squad because he's not so good going forward. His main job and Luke Shaw's main job is to defend. And I thought both our fullbacks, once Luke Shaw had got over his initial issues with positional play in the first 10, I thought he was excellent moving forward. As for Pogba, a man on a mission today. Yeah, absolutely right, Mark. A man on a mission. And I thought he controlled our play and our tempo. So much so, and this is going to be extremely controversial, but so much so, I didn't think Bruno had that much of an influence on the game. Now, I could be wrong, but it's just my opinion.
No, I agree with that.
I
agree with that. And I think Neil said this before. I think it was from the second half, obviously, we need to work on that first half mentality, but it was a team performance and we weren't reliant upon Bruno. Everybody stepped up, even Fred, Luke, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I don't know what was said to him at half time, but he ended up 20 yards forward and that really took the left back Reguilon by surprise and it made us dangerous. And we've spoken about this before. I think that his attacking game will get better when we get a right winger, and we haven't got that yet. So if we see that, I mean, already that's only good things, right?
So you've hit the nail on the head about Reguilon. Reguilon fits into the and you've heard me call players posers before. He's a poser of a footballer, but we absolutely took him out of the equation in the second half. Spot on, Mark. We took him out of the equation. Now, I know we're coming up on time. I just want to touch on one other point, and that's Cavani. Cavani demonstrated today why nobody else in our squad can score those types of goals. Greenwood's, Rashford, Martial, James, they're just not got that instinctive presence in the 6-yard area. His header was out of this world. His movement for the first goal, which was disallowed, out of this world. And so, yeah. So, all in all, brilliant performance. Just one point that Brown Knight made. You are right. I was being a bit churlish by my comments about.
What did he say? What did he say?
He's a bit further up, I think. Yeah, I think he's right. Yeah, we are positive on this channel, and so I was being a bit churlish on that. But I suppose I was really aiming myself towards Twitter because, the first 20 minutes, people were just a little bit. You've got to give. I think people forget a game is 90 minutes long, or 96 minutes, as it was in this case. Where he got the 6 minutes from, I don't know. And the game, anything can happen over a 90-minute period. So, man and match. I'm going to go with Pogba. I just thought he controlled our play today. Should have scored. Got to stop punting about with this little flick. Just wrap your right foot around it, and it's 2-1. It was an easier chance than he had, but Pogba for me, man of the match. I can't hear you. On mute, Mark. Can't hear you.
If you can't hear me.
I can hear you when you're on mute.
Sorry, I made it. I fucked up. No, I'm waiting for 2 other guests to come on. So I'm going to keep you for a bit longer if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course it is,
hopefully that won't upset the missus too much.
Because I'm on Wall of Reds later.
Well, this is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just quickly then. We've got 16 views at the minute, 3 on Facebook. Come over to YouTube and join in the discussion. Lots of comments going on here. Be good to see you. youtube.com/all4united. Paul Pogba. I mean, I've repeated myself for a few times to every guest that's come on today, and it could have been an array of players. I mean, we just need to see that integrity and just that front foot football. You know, people take the piss out of me every week for saying we need to start on the front foot, but every week the reason why I say it is because we don't. And ultimately, if we can play that 45 minutes of football for the whole game, we would be scintillating, and we wouldn't have to have all those negative critics. And it's just a real shame. Do you think we've probably spoken about this before, Stu, but do you think it's a mentality thing? Do you think it's maybe Ollie's approach at the beginning of the game? Perhaps he talks to them very differently, something like that just doesn't really give them the impetus to really go on the front foot to begin with?
It's a difficult one, really, because sometimes when you start off a game, something big has to happen within the first 5 minutes. And it doesn't really matter. It's whether you put a crunching tackle in on a centre midfield, or you're getting behind a team. Something has to happen within the first 5 minutes of a match. And what that does, it tends to ignite the match, and it tends to almost set the tempo. We need to come out and be on and set the tempo immediately, rather than the slow tempo that we tend to. We can't keep, and certainly for next season, we cannot keep ambling our way through the first 20, 25 minutes. Although today, as I said right at the very beginning, Spurs were completely different. Spurs dictated the tempo, dictated our play. And I don't know whether you mentioned, obviously we've said about probably being man of the match. He was drawn deep after about 20, 25 minutes. He was brought back into the middle for about 5 minutes. And then he pushed out onto the right, and then he pushed out onto the left. He was brought into the middle to stop the chasm which was happening between our 2 centre halves and Fred and McTominay. And there was a big problem at that particular time where Fred and McTominay couldn't keep possession. You got Højbjerg, who I don't rate anyway, but he was dictating the midfield for the first 20. What Ollie's got to say to them is, look, lads, we've got to get on the front foot. And certainly at Leeds, in I think it's about 2 weeks' time, is if we don't hit the front foot with Leeds, we could be 1 or 2 down, because they attack well, and I think they showed yesterday how a good, solid unit can defend well. So we do have a problem with that. I don't know if it's mentality. I don't know what it is, but we do have a problem with that. But ultimately, today we've seen a solidity which I don't think we've seen for the past 4 or 5 weeks, and I agree. And we never look like, Gary Neville's right, really. We never really look like scoring in the first 20, 25 minutes till we open them up, through the Son issue, because we weren't getting in behind. Pogba's never going to get in behind. And this is why, and I keep advocating it, this is why you can take a Fred or a McTominay out the equation and put a Donny van der Beek in there, because it gives that freedom and that fluidity, and you can still remain solid. Because all a real good centre midfielder's got to do is just marshal a back 4. And so you can create that. But maybe today it wasn't the game for Donny, and maybe today Ollie got it right. But I will say one thing. Also, Ollie's been getting a lot of criticism, and I think it's been spoken on Wall of Reds on a couple of occasions, hasn't it, about the way that he set the team up. But I'll tell you something. There isn't a manager out there that would have got any more out of the players today than Ollie. So you could take Ollie out of the equation, and nobody's really, by the way, given me any name to replace Ollie with. Everybody's giving us this Ollie out or all this nonsense, but nobody's ever offered up a name.
And you know, the names out there at the moment, I don't think it's going to suit the system that United really are playing or want to play. Listen, Stu, I'm going to let you go, mate. Have a great time on Wall of Reds tonight. For those of you watching Wall of Reds at 9 o'clock tonight, Stu's going to be there. Great words as always, mate. Thank you very much.
Lads. Much appreciated.
Right.
Take it.
Right, I've got my next guest, Abdul, Mr. Tactician. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Mark, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You can hear me well, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, mate.
Okay.
Can hear you fine, a bit tangled. What were your thoughts, buddy? I mean, what a scintillating victory, really. It was touch and go.
Yeah,
but then we came out on top.
Yeah. I told Karstik the other night after the Granada game, I was like, yo, I'll be happy with a 1-0 win from now till the end of the season. But this was a really, really good win, especially because of what happened earlier in the season, where they just took advantage of how unprepared and out of fitness we are, and they completely crushed us. So I did a funny thing. I watched the game, the home game yesterday at night, and then I wanted to see the differences between the two games in Manchester United, not in Tottenham. Tottenham has regressed a lot anyway. And fitness was the difference, fitness and awareness, because if you don't have your fitness, you don't have your awareness, and your positioning is not right. You're not aware of runs that gets happen behind you, in front of you. You're not able to keep up. So there was it was an entirely different game, of course. But but on today, we started slow. We started very slow, and we kept focusing on trying to do runs in behind their back line, because we know they're not really that good defensively. Like Eric Dyer and Rondon, they're doing an okay job, but they're not that good. So for Cavani, sure, it's good, but for Pogba does not have the speed that Rashford or Cavani or a Mason Greenwood would have. So it wasn't coming off. Whatever we were trying to do was coming off. And then Fred and Scott McTominay, as per usual, they would misplace passes. They would give it back. They would just kill off attacks. Also Rashford, just not Fred and Scott as well. Rashford kills a lot of our attacks because he decides he wants to take a lot of things on his own. So that kept happening for the first 20 minutes or so, or 25 minutes, and then we started playing better. And the thing is, Tottenham weren't as good too. Tottenham maybe were able to catch us out of position a little bit because they have actual speed and runners, with more Heung and Son and Kane dropping and finding them, and Lo Celso. So they were able to get into better positions than us in the first 25 minutes, something like that. But they weren't better. They were just faster, if you know what I mean. The execution at the very, very end was just a bit better than us,
Yeah.
And after that, we took control because, like I said before, millions of times, when Pogba plays on the left, he's not playing as a winger. He does not want to play him as a winger. He just wants him to play in that pocket of half space where Pogba excels. That's Pogba's game.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to ask you next. So for me, and I've said this throughout, Pogba starting on that left-hand side further forward probably brings out his best attributes in certain ways because of his flair, player characteristics.
Yeah. Imagine it this way. If Pogba's playing the 8, if we're playing 4-3-3, let's say, right? And Pogba is playing the 8, the spaces he's occupying right now is the same exact spaces he would be occupying if he's playing an 8 on the left of the 2. That's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Now, what that makes Bruno and Pogba do is both of them are central. So you have 4 in midfield. Now that helps us control the midfield more and makes the passes that Fred and Scott McTominay have to do a little bit easier because they have more people to pass to instead of finding that one person in the middle, in between the four banks of four.
Yeah.
So that helps them a lot. Now the drawback from this is the two fullbacks, and the midfielder on the left wing when we're defending. So that's the drawback of doing this. The drawback is that now Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka have to do a lot more work, by going up the field and providing that width for 100% of the game from both sides. Like Aaron Wan-Bissaka can't be staying at the back anymore because if we're playing with Rashford, Greenwood, and Martial, Aaron Wan-Bissaka kind of tucks in midfield or tucks in with the centre backs just to stay at the back. They don't want him to do that much more offensive output.
Is this when Pogba's playing further forward? You're saying that Luke and AWB have a lot more work to do, which doesn't
exactly suit? Yeah, there is more emphasis on them to go forward. They have to, or we lose a lot in attack. Our attack becomes only central, no more width anymore. So what you saw today was Pogba and Bruno in the middle, and then Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka going up further and providing the width, right? So now the only job McTominay and Scott have to do is do the cover work, just delay, just tackle, just do whatever you do, just stop a counter attack. So which was good, it helps us control the midfield from like the 25th minute when everything started to click a little bit, and this is how we really controlled them, in that sense. The substitutions were perfect because Rashford was not affecting the game. Unfortunately, the guy just needs a rest, and he's like half a man walking at the moment. So it was good, and it shows in all of his decisions. So he needed a rest. And
I am a bit concerned about Rashford at the moment. I mean, we've said this for many weeks now. I think that obviously he has been nursing a ankle problem. I think it was wise for Ollie to take him off, bring Greenwood on. I think Greenwood had a lot more impact. I think Rashford on the right doesn't so much. On the left, he just wasn't particularly on his game today, was he? When he switched with Pogba, I think he did that halfway through the second half.
Yeah, like I said before, like when he puts him on the right, you're trying to make Rashford use the creative side of Rashford, not the shooter, not the Rashford that cuts in and wants to get a goal. So when you put him on the right, it's the Rashford that wants to whip in a cross. And to be fair to Rashford, he has a really good cross on him. But you nullify his threat as a goal scorer. That's all it does. You know what I mean? I mean, unless it's a team that provides you a very high line. Like, for example, if we're playing against Liverpool or against Man City and you put Rashford on the right, you don't really nullify him that much because he will get a lot of space. But when you play a team like Tottenham or a team that sits back, then the only thing Rashford can do for you is whip in a good cross and find you with a pass. And like I said, when you were playing that, it's 4-2-2, but in the final phase of possession, it's like a 2-3-5. Both Bruno and Pogba were interchanging a lot. And they would go to the wide areas, and one would tuck in with the forwards, so that one would cross a ball inside, and you'll still have the extra number in the central in case that ball was not delivered correctly. So I thought it was a really, really, really good plan by Ollie to keep the pressure on them and maintaining the control in the midfield. But other than that, like Aaron Wan-Bissaka had a great game. Shaw had a great game. Pogba, at the first, it wasn't good. The things he was trying to make was not coming off for him.
Yeah.
It was a very slow for him. But then he grew into the game massively. Cavani, like one of his best games.
Yeah,
one of his best games. And like Scott McTominay was okay. Fred, the goal saved him because in the first half, him
He
and
was
Scott,
poor. He was.
yeah, they were
It seemed
both.
to instill this sort of life into him,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Plus, like, look, I love them both. Believe me, like, because I know these two give their blood, sweat, and tear for Manchester United. You know, like every time these two are on the pitch, they will give you 110%. Whether it's correct or wrong, or the passes come off or don't, you can never fault them on the effort. You can never fault them on what they want to do. They want to succeed, but it's just not coming up for them. You know, they need to improve on certain aspects, and it costs us in the end. You know, sometimes. But other than that, like when I criticize them, I actually in the hope that they actually improve. You know, like if tomorrow Fred's start pinging balls like Pogba, I'll be the happiest man for him. You know, and
Me too. I think we all would.
Yeah.
we all would. I mean, I was saying to the other guys, man of the match. I mean, first half, obviously, it was very difficult to pick anybody. Second half,
Yeah.
you could pick a handful quite easily. But who was yours?
The obvious ones would be Cavani or Pogba, but I will go for Aaron Wan-Bissaka because he was having a little bit of like a wobble, and like he would give a good performance and then wobble a little bit and then give a good performance. This one was really a good one, and he kept the threat of Son and Reguilón down to a minimum.
Yeah.
You know, because of his runs forward. Even though his crosses needs improvement still, his presence forward or putting half a decent cross inside keeps Son and Reguilón thinking. You know, like, oh, I have to be wary of his movement. And that's what happened for their goal, by the way.
What? This is the funny thing, isn't it? You know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is consistently criticised about going forward. I don't think it's actually that bad. I think, obviously, when you get a right winger in, he's going to be far better. But as soon as that second half started, he was very far forward and was brilliant.
Two things that need to improve in him would be his on-the-ball work. So when he receives the ball, Aaron Wan-Bissaka looks clumsy. Looks like he's about to lose it or he's about to fall down. It's aesthetically not pleasing, but he needs to just improve a little bit his on-the-ball work and the delivery, the cross delivery. If he improves these two things, he'll just be as good as any other right back going forward. Maybe not elite, world-class level kind of thing, but good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And their goal was, I mean, it was a mistake, yeah, sure, but these things happen. It was a fine connection between Kane, Moura, and Son. Lindelof mistimed his interception.
Yeah, he did.
You know,
he's been superb though the last few weeks.
The rest of the game he was very good.
People are prone to errors, aren't they? And you have to allow that sometimes. And fortunately, it worked out okay for us today.
The only person, like, I would say, I don't want to be critical of him, but because it was just a glaring thing, like it was very obvious, like why didn't you do that? Was Rashford, because Son ran right in front of him, and he didn't run with him. He saw that Aaron Wan-Bissaka tucked in to cover Kane when Lindelof went out to cover. You know, so your winger on that side has to cover you. You know, if he doesn't cover you, then you're in shit. Like your right back. You know, because he can't do two jobs at the same time. So that was like Rashford. If he just ran with Son, you could have kept him away from the ball, but he didn't do that. And to be fair to Rashford, he's been beaten up and tackled, and the guy is, I don't even know how he's playing. So I don't want to be criticizing him too much. So that was the only thing that you could say about that goal. Like if Rashford ran with Son, you know, because he saw his run, he saw it, and we could have easily prevented that goal. But
see, I'm so pleased we have someone like you on the show, because immediately when the goal went in, I was thinking, Lindelof made the mistake, and obviously his footing wasn't quite right, but actually
he mistimed the interception.
Probably could have helped that situation a lot more.
I mean, mistiming interceptions happen every game from every player. If you're gonna be picking on that one thing, you know, on a player, then might as well label all players are average, because they do the same thing.
Totally agree. Listen, Abdul, it's wonderful having you on again. Thank you very much, mate. Everybody go and follow Abdul. He's got some wonderful threads, tactics.
Yeah, I will do one on this one. I haven't done one in a while, but I will do one on this game.
And when will that be out?
Hopefully in a day or two. Hopefully.
Awesome. I'll be certainly reading that when it comes on. Thanks very much, mate. Have a great evening.
Take care, man.
And see you soon. All right.
Cheers,
buddy. Right, before I bring on my last guest, I'm just going to read out a few comments. Thumb injury for Abdul, apparently. ripped Spurs apart in the second half, made them look average. I think we did. I think, we brought on a couple of players, Mourinho-esque, brought on Sissoko for, was it Lo Celso? And basically shut up shot. And I think that shot him in the foot, quite honestly. Right, my next guest, Nicole.
Hi,
how
Matt.
you doing?
I'm a lot better than I would have been had we not scored 3 after conceding that one.
I was a bit concerned today, actually. I think this is my 3rd show now. And every time I've been very fortunate for us to win, or at least scrape one. So I wanted positivity today. And fortunately, we found that. So what were your thoughts on the game? From start to finish, it was a very difficult first half. I don't know what Ollie said in the dressing room, but he seemed to sort of rile them up. We played that much further forward and everyone just came alive.
Yeah, well, I'm probably not going to be as eloquent as some of you guessed, because honestly, today I conceded the fact that if I ever did a watch along, I would be sectioned, because the highs and the lows you feel like. I actually predicted with the girls a 3-1 win. Like, I actually predicted it, but I never could have predicted this. We started slow and I'm thinking, is it going to be another one?
Prediction. And then we might have to follow you next time. We'll put a bet on.
Yeah, but not technically we scored 4, but I'll take it. I'll take the win. So yeah, we started off slow and I was thinking, is it going to be one of them days? Because as I was saying with the girls, you never know what to expect with United. Like, you want to have that confidence. And even when I was predicting it, I was thinking it really does depend who turns up on the day, how Ole lines us up. And also, I think in terms of Mourinho and Solskjaer, I think I would have absolutely loved every second. But as a United fan, obviously, I love the second half more. It was brilliant to see Cavani, because I don't think he's had the best of performances recently. So it was brilliant to see him at his best. For me, definitely man of the match. Absolutely. Pogba as well, to see Pogba with that flair doing what it does best. I really enjoyed. And however much everyone gives Solskjaer criticism, I said today, I've sat there sometimes, I'll hold my hands up and said, why isn't he making changes? Why is he making me sit here, pull my hair out? Today, he made the exact same decision at the exact right time. The super sub made the perfect sub. Took Rashford off because I'm very concerned about him at the moment. Brought Greenwood on, who then went on to assist and to score. Like, I couldn't have wrote it any better.
It did work out to be the perfect game. I think we were very unfortunate not to get that goal. I mean, a lot of the other guests have already said that. How can you have control of your arm in that situation? And I said earlier that I think, McTominay seemed to have it against Son's arm, bit of friction there. And as soon as Son moved his arm, it flicked back. Now, how can you stop that? And to me, I think it was very unjustified. So essentially, it should have been 4-1. But I think you're spot on. I think Ollie, there's a lot of people out there, including myself, I've been critical at times, that seem to wait for the moment to jump on his back. And I feel that in this moment, he did play the perfect game, and he made the subs at the right time. He started with an 11 that, on paper, when we look at it with Fred and McTominay in the middle, we're thinking, oh shit, you're going to play defensive, but it didn't work out like that. I thought even in the first half, whilst it was a bit slow, we tried to push that ball forward, just not quickly, and that was the problem for me. But I think you're absolutely spot on. It was great to see those changes. It worked out well for him. It was great to get one over on Mourinho, and I thought Pogba was excellent. I thought Fred, obviously after his goal, might give it a bit more confidence.
Listen, I never doubted him for a second. Never doubted that he could score for a second.
We've all been there. We've all been there. Rashford, bit of a concern for you at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I do contradict myself sometimes, because I said this the last time, and then he went on to score, and I was like, oh, never mind.
We all do, don't worry.
But for me, like, stepping back from the emotions and how I'm feeling right now, in general, I'm more concerned because he's young at the moment, so it can be like he can just go on and seemingly play through anything. I'm more concerned for the longevity of his career, and like looking ahead, is this going to disrupt like the length that he can play for? Are these niggles here and there going to lead to something a lot more serious? That is my concern. And it's not like a criticism. Like, I understand that we're coming to like the business end of the season. We just need to get the team out. We need to get the wins. And obviously, still, Ole, I still think he hasn't got his full team yet, full squad yet. Having said that, I am concerned, and it's more like, we can watch him now and he seems fine and he can shrug it off. But it's more longer down the line. I'm concerned because it's a generational talent, and for someone like me, I'm from Wythenshawe, Rashford's from Wythenshawe, and I'm just so genuinely so happy to my kids to be growing up watching him and seeing what he does on the pitch and off the pitch, and I just don't want that to be ruined in any way. So I just think it's about getting the balance right of, yeah, we do want him to play, of course we do. I think he gets a lot of, similar to the manager in a way, of that people seem to focus more on what he gets wrong than he gets right. And I will admit, sometimes his decision making, I'm like, what are you doing, mate? However, I think we kind of like take for granted what he has done at his age. And I think it's just about protecting him and getting more options in, so that we can rest him when we need to, and like we're not going to just like patch him up and just like hope for the best long term, basically.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I've said for weeks now, we saw this in Wayne Rooney. David De Gea is another example. When they seem to start their careers early, they seem to get burnt out. And I think probably Wayne Rooney was overplayed at points. There were times when he was carrying us through. And I think that Rashford is probably doing a similar job now to a certain degree. We have players like Pogba, we have Bruno, but we are overly reliant on Rashford, and he just needs a rest. Just give him a rest, and I hope that doesn't have a negative impact on him going forward. But I think you're absolutely spot on. Paul Pogba, lots of talk obviously over the last 6 months. Will he go? Will he stay? With the current climate, can anyone afford him? He was phenomenal today. Just give me your quick thoughts on him and whether you think he will stay at the end of the season.
Just to sum up, if you go back to me a few months ago, I was like, oh, do you know what? Just go, just do one. But that wasn't really regarding him. That was regarding his agent's comments. But
absolutely, we were all there. We were all there. I said some horrible things, but it's not him at all. I
wear my heart on my sleeve. I would never ever disrespect him personally. Like, my opinions are always professional. You would never ever see me attack him, because while he wears this badge, he has my full support. And it's a tricky one, because he's just playing exceptionally. Of course, you want him in your team, but then is he playing exceptionally because he wants to be, or is he playing exceptionally, to advertise himself, basically? But from a selfish point of view, I don't really mind which one it is, so long as he puts his full effort onto the pitch, and so long what he does what he wants to do, then I'll support him. I'll support him whatever he does. But I would be gutted to lose him, and I think at the moment, financially and worldwide, I think it would be difficult for anyone to come in and get the kind of the price that he would be going for. I think it's just a case of time will tell, really. Same with De Gea. Like, there's a lot of rumours around De Gea at the moment, but I think the difference with Dave is if it's true, I completely see where he's coming from. I think it's the right time for him, his family, and that's not in a disrespectful way, because he has saved us so many times for Hendo, and it's a completely different situation to the last scenario. And I think it's quite similar in that sense with Paul, of that, like, if he did go after this season, it would be on much lighter terms and much like mutual respect between the two parties. Can't hear you, Mark.
Shit, I've done it again.
I thought it was my AirPods. It's all right.
Yeah, that's twice tonight. Fucked up. Right, I was talking about Henderson. I'm glad you brought him up.
Right.
David De Gea. I'm glad you mentioned him, because obviously he wants to go back to Spain. He's just had a child, wants to be with his family. And who are we to stop him from... Everyone's taking the piss here. Look, unlucky, Mark, you muted. Yeah, cheers, boys.
I thought it was my AirPods, I swear down. That's why I was like...
Do you know what?
Like, no, it's not me this time.
That never happens to me, but it's happened twice tonight. So there you go.
We wing it.
Yeah, we will wing it. We've done all right. Yeah, so, who are we to... I mean, we're in a great position, aren't we, to have two wonderful goalkeepers, really. I know, obviously, David De Gea in the last few years probably dipping in form, made a few mistakes. But I thought Henderson today, and I've said this before, someone else on the channel, Callum, he hit it spot on a few weeks ago. He really instills a lot of reassurance to those two defenders, and I think that he's quite a big part on why we haven't conceded much recently. And whilst Lindelof made a mistake today, they were pretty solid. So what are your thoughts on Henderson, how he played today, and do you think he's obviously the man going forward?
I do. Like I said, like not only in terms of from De Gea's point of view, but I think this is excellent for Henderson because there've been many times I've been asked like, well, who do you start out of the two from? Honestly, it's a good headache to have, but it is a headache to have because they both have the attributes. But I think when we were saying about, like a few months back or a year ago or so, like when is the right time? I think this or next season, should I say, would be the perfect time. I think, like you say, he's got that command in his back line, he's got that cohesion and that they've built a relationship. And yeah, we didn't get a clean sheet today, but I didn't expect us to get a clean sheet. These defensive errors do happen. It's more so how it affects the overall outcome of the game. And for me, if you can come out on top, I will allow these errors, so long as they're not like, a lot more. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with how he's come in. He's kind of been thrown in at the deep end, and I think like you say with the two of them, I think it must be brilliant for him from the point of view that it's David De Gea, and you know what I mean. He's got to be in the same squad as him, probably spoken to him and trained together, and I think that's just brilliant to go forward for both parties. So yeah, I'm really confident, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if Hendo does become our number one, to seeing what the future holds for us, and defensively how much of a strong unit we can be, especially if we enforce it even more.
Yeah, totally agree. Progression, you think we've made some this year? Europa League,
I do.
You think we'll get it?
I'll be honest. The thing that broke my heart the most was the FA Cup, because I'm old school, me, Mark. I'm old school, and I want to win everything. And everyone's like, the FA Cup isn't what it used to be. It is to me. I grew up thinking it's magic. I still think it's magic. So I will admit that I was gutted about that. However, if we finish second and we're still in contention to win the Europa League, which we should possibly. We shouldn't be in the Europa League, but this is where we are. We're working on where we should be, not how we used to be. So I think if we can lift a trophy, I would love to see Ole lift a trophy. I can't even describe how much I'd love that. If we could do that and finish the best of the rest behind City, we've been unstoppable. Well, up to a certain extent. I would be happy. But having said that, next season, I think I'll be a little bit stricter in the sense that. Not that saying we should win the title, but saying that we should fight for the title. We shouldn't falter off. We should be up there from next season, in my opinion. But this season, progress, absolutely. But for me, next season, all eyes are on Solskjaer to see what he does next, and to see if he really is the man for Manchester United, not just for now, but going forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. It is progression. I think people expect things to happen overnight, which doesn't happen. It is, we've gone through sort of 6-7 years of disappointment and bad signings, and Ollie's obviously come in, giving a bit of stability, and hopefully now we're moving in the right direction. But what that doesn't mean is it's not going to happen overnight, and he is going to need some time. And I think it would be fair to give somebody 2 seasons. He came in sort of November, was it, after Mourinho? You don't get a full season. You need sort of time to work out your players, got rid of a lot of players. Then he had the season where he was able to buy a few players, which he did. Obviously, the Glazers didn't back him last year, which is unfortunate. But this is also the second time where hopefully we'll qualify for the Champions League twice, in succession. That hasn't happened since Ferguson. So maybe this year, this might mean that, we've got our money back. We've done this twice. We're in. And then maybe we can get some more signings in. He just needs to be backed, and I think you're absolutely right. I think next year we have to be stricter, and we have to progress. And he needs to break that duck. And I really hope that he can win that Europa League. Anyway,
I can't honestly. I hope he does for us all. We need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, thank you very much. For those of you that aren't following, which I'll be surprised, go and follow Nicole, Miss Nicola Deans. Thanks so much for coming on today. Honestly, really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me, Mark.
You're more than welcome. No problem at all. And I'll see you very soon. Okay.
All right. See you later. Take care.
Bye-bye. Right then. Closing thoughts. I'll do a Karthik. Didn't start obviously well. And looked very shaky. Didn't really progress it. But I thought that there was some intent there. And that was good to see. And whatever happened at half time, he got the best out of them. He made some great changes today. Great changes to the tactics, even moved Pogba back into the middle and was fantastic. And that needs to be applauded. I thought he was brilliant. But ultimately, we got a 3-1 win over Tottenham, over Mourinho. It means that we're now 7 points clear. And hopefully that really means that we've now got top 4 in the bag. So anyway, listen, thank you so much for the comments today. Always great fun, really good. And hopefully we'll see you soon. We've got Wall of Reds at 9 tonight with Joe, Ben, Stu, and a few others. So make sure you tune into that. But listen, really appreciate you all being here. Thanks very much, and see you very soon.